What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Cheap Drinks and Cheat Codes. With buddies, talking about games, talking about drinks, talking about anime. Today, we added somebody. Even the last episode we said that might not ever happen. So, we added Rob.
Bye.
And everybody else is the same. We got Phil in the top left, Justin on the bottom left, and Josh taking up a majority of your screen, and I apologize in advance.
That's not how it works out on mine, by the way.
No, it's not about you, Rob.
I'm
It's
just
about
throwing
the
that out there.
viewers.
Josh isn't in the middle, but
it's not
me.
Not about you.
Go
One
on.
day you'll understand. One day you'll understand.
I'm new here.
The new guy. All right, so let's get started off here. We're gonna start off with a little bit of news. We're gonna talk about this rumored PS5 manufacturing cost. Rumor has it Sony is struggling with costly parts driven by high demand of the memory, and it could drive the price up of the PlayStation 5 to around $500. Because again, they're expecting it to be $450 to manufacture. They're having really trouble getting DRAM and ND flash memory. That's what's really driving up the cost. They're doing a wait to see approach to also see what Microsoft is doing. They're being very mum on the topic right now. A lot of people think they're going to release something at E3 after Xbox does theirs. Thoughts and opinions on the price being around $500.
What was the price of the PS4 when it came out? 400?
400.
It was
400.
4.
Yeah.
I mean, it's getting up there. Like, it's getting to the price of, like, you could skip a gen of a console and you could get into the PC realm. But then again, I think 500, you're going to start losing a lot of your lower, like, not say lower income, but people who don't have as much to spend on a console base, I should say.
I mean, I don't think...
Because 400 is already a lot.
Yeah, in retrospect, though, the Xbox One originally launched at 500 because it came with the eye.
The Kinect.
The Kinect.
The
yeah.
Kinect.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay,
I watch
okay.
you all the time.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I don't think 500's bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think as long as it's relatively an advancement, as long as it's a large advancement, I feel like 500's not terrible.
Okay.
But
I care more that it comes out ready.
Yeah, we are going to talk about specs a little bit later, so let's not get into that too much.
yeah, I mean, I would care more about like launch exclusives.
Okay. Yeah, I also think they might drop 2 different ones, especially Sony side. I've read a couple articles on that they might do that.
Do we know? I guess we'll probably talk about it afterwards. I'm trying to think of comparison between like Xbox Series X rumored estimated cost.
There's no clear. Everything's just hearsay for Xbox right now. The Sony one is real. Like, people in Sony are admitting that they're having trouble with RAM and it's expensive, so it's driving up the price. Xbox is being a little bit more like, cloak and dagger about the situation.
Well, if Sony,
It's worth mentioning that. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, if Sony watches this, I've got 16 gigs of RAM I just took out of my old PC that they could purchase from me for a low price.
That's
Right,
right.
low price.
I think it's worth mentioning that, like, as far as the price of the Series X goes, if PlayStation starts winning this next console generation, they're going to drop by like $50 at least. That's what happened last time. Like, there was an immediate price drop on the Xbox the moment PlayStation sales started skyrocketing.
Yeah. Well, they immediately realized nobody wanted the Kinect.
Well, that too, but even besides the Kinect price, like, they dropped the price even further from that.
Did they? Okay.
Yeah. It ended up being around like $350 for most of the console generation, like immediately.
Now you can get one for $100 sometimes.
Yeah.
$100 on the street.
Yeah. They got that digital only. Oh, that's the other thing. Are there any other digital only? Are there other digital only versions of like PS5 shit like that coming out?
No.
there's
Xbox
only
is
the
the only
Xbox
one
One
that know that did it.
Bold move.
And I don't even know how well that console went over.
I don't know, bro. At work,
Yeah.
poor
A lot
people
of
love
people-
that.
A lot of people think that's Xbox's soft introduction to that type of console with no disk drive because they rumored that the Xbox One was going to originally have that, but people were like, no, you're not going to do that.
They did the same thing with the Series X originally.
The what?
And with the Series X, they originally said that too, and then changed it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So we'll see. And then again, if it popped off, and it's crazy that the dynamic is like that. So if you're a PC gamer, you're used to it. You get your game, you download your game, you play your game. But for consoles, it's like, give me a disc. And I'm that way. I would always rather have a disc because trade-ins still exist. If I can get a game, sell my game for $20 after I beat it, I'm with it.
Yeah, but with like most of today's, like almost every game you get nowadays, it's you get the disc, do the 150 gig download,
Yeah.
and then you get to play. So you're still downloading your game anyway.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
sometimes
but
it's
the
a little bit less.
Yeah, but the ability to have the disc and not have to connect to the internet is what would sell me over a disc console than a non-disc console.
I don't know. I just see it. I see it very similar to this. It's the same thing with Apex and Fortnite. They literally come out with a version that you can buy just as a card, just like everything else. Like they're free to play games you can download at home, but you can also go to the store and buy a quote unquote like hard copy of it, which is a plastic case with a cardboard in it with a download code and some free stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it just kind of defeats the overall purpose of like going to a store, walking out with a disc. Nobody wants to walk out with a piece of cardboard.
Yeah.
But people do it.
People do it every day.
I mean, that's the whole thing. Like, PC gamers, we all have Steam, so we're used to that whole digital thing. But a lot of times, everybody waits for the big sales, and like they try it on the PlayStation Store and Xbox One, I'm sure, but like I don't follow it. But then there's also that PC gaming has always had that whole free to play games come out that people hop on.
Yeah.
Where like when you're thinking of console, you're thinking about going to GameStop or something, Best Buy, buying your game physical, having that disc, it's yours. Where in PC, it's just like we have all these indie things that are now starting to get to console, but that was big for PC. Just having all those indie titles.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what blows my mind with Steam as well is their sales. The fact that like if you go on the Sony store or the Xbox store, they have sales sometimes and they're okay, but you can't compete with Steam sales, like the amount of discounts you can get.
Well, I should mention you can compete with the sales, but they're happening much more frequently on the consoles than they used to.
I have seen
by
on
a
PlayStation the flash
by a
sales.
lot. They're never over. They don't hit the prices of Steam at all, but it's it's something for the people on console.
Yeah, but still, like, so cool. I could buy a digital copy of the game that I could go buy used for half the sale price of the digital copy.
Yeah.
Like, why don't I just go, drive 5 minutes to GameStop, pick up, the game I want for $14. It's still on sale on PlayStation Network, whatever, is $30. Like,
Yeah. The digital price never matches a used price ever.
No.
Yeah. Which doesn't really make any sense because like we see how profitable it is. Like if you honestly just went through Steam's first, let's say 3 pages of most played or like top purchases, those numbers would completely destroy anything on console. I can almost guarantee. Because I remember when Terraria first came out, everybody was hot on it, and then I bought 5 copies of it on the winter sale because it was $3, and then I just gave it to a bunch of random people.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I got one of them.
He did. He's never booted it up.
No, we never have. We've never touched it.
Don't wee me. Do we wanna do our drinks? What everybody's drinking?
Ooh,
just real quick
drinks?
to get that out of the way.
Yeah, go for it.
Go for it, Brandon, since you've mentioned it.
Well, I have a nice small glass of rosé.
don't worry, he's very
small.
tiny.
Extra small.
Yeah, this is a normal glass, and at a normal human level, this would just be fine. But this is courtesy of Spirit Cruises in Baltimore,
Ooh, ah.
where you can get drunk at sea. All right, somebody else.
Justin, Phil?
I'm drinking a Schlafly Session Stout from their Stout Bout.
Boop, boop.
Yeah, it's more stout, more the merrier.
Ooh, enjoy a good
Mango,
stout.
mango.
I've got from Conshohocken Brewing Company. Their Summer Madness.
Spell it.
Summer Madness is winter.
Conshohocken. It's summer's coming up, Phil. It's coming up quick and fast.
Is it good?
There it
Oh,
is.
we popped the top right then and there.
Just cracking it right here.
That's a virgin can. Oh. All right,
Ooh.
Rob, you drinking anything
It's
interesting?
tasty.
I'm not drinking anything interesting. I am drinking a beverage from our unofficial sponsor, Salad Works. Salad Works. Their slogan. It's not just iceberg lettuce. So that's what I have.
Bingo, bango, bongo. I'm drinking water. So.
Ooh, riveting.
Huzzah.
From the
There it
from the
is.
springs of Mount Hagaloogie.
Yes. All right, on to the next topic here. I wanted to talk about how Microsoft announced last week that they are not going to have a exclusive first-party game at the launch of their Series X console. Xbox is leaning more towards the fact that of reverse compatibility. They think that that's going to drive business for a little bit, which it looks like. I'm going to just summarize the article because it's like 4 paragraphs. I'll just put it in the chat. Basically, they think backwards compatibility, the games that are going to come out this year are going to come out beforehand for Xbox One and PS4, and then I think they're going to just be backwards compatible, much like Cyberpunk, for example, is going to come out. I think it's September or October, one or the other. You'll just be able to play it on your next gen console. The game's already going to run great. It'll just look a little bit better on the next gen. But I do think it's still interesting that there's not going to be that forefront game. I was talking about this with Rob off the stream, like a Zelda to the Switch. Like how many people bought that together at the exact same time?
Right.
Halo Infinite's not going to be a launch title?
No. That's not anymore.
I don't believe it is.
Yeah, that sucks. I don't think that's that odd. I feel like every console generation, there's a lag between the console and a decent playability of the console. So it's odd that they're telling people about it, because I can't see an upside to being like, hey, guess what? Don't buy us. But like, I feel like a similar situation's probably going to happen with PS5 for at least a decent period of time. So I don't think it's too odd.
Yeah.
Oh, I just died.
Oh,
He's
rip.
dead.
All right. Technical issues, folks, no problem. But what Rob was saying is he thinks basically PS5 will be doing the same strategy. They have not announced anything yet that they will do the same. We just don't know.
I wonder, because Josh, you and I talked about even we talked about it last episode, like Cyberpunk double dipping. That like completely ruins their plan because they delayed it, and I wonder if they knew that. Well, I guess because it's still going to be select on the developer. Not everybody is going to be like so. Cyberpunk, I guess, could still say that they're not backwards or forward compatible.
Yeah.
I guess initially, and it'll just be like a patch. Interesting.
Yeah, we'll see.
That's super strange. I don't like that at all.
In relation to what Phil said, I did look it up. Halo just has a 2020 of holiday release, so that's all I got for that. So if the console, technically they could do a Halo if the console drops in September, October, and they push it to November. That's not a launch exclusive, because it's not available at launch, but if it comes out, I mean, that would sell consoles though. If you're like, oh, I bought my console, I can play my games backwards, and then Halo comes out in a month and a half. I don't think that's that big of a deal. Can someone mute Rob so I don't have to hear him fumbling around?
It's gonna be a little harder for me to do that.
Oh, never mind then. Well,
There we go.
excellent.
'Cause I had
Sorry
to-
about that, folks.
I had to exit full screen.
Yeah. While we're at it, does anybody have an opinion on that? Anything they want to say?
Well, I mean, I think a lot of the whole like no exclusives might be a little like saying that okay, it's also going to release on PC or it's going to release on the generation before at the same time. Because there are games like that are set for holiday of this year, which is when all these new consoles are supposed to come out.
Yeah.
So they're probably going to launch with it, but they're not like you can only play this on this console thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy, you all right? You okay?
they weren't happy.
It was Microsoft, so yeah, they just shut down your computer.
Yeah.
That is fair. All right, did you have any other opinion, Rob? Do you want to finish your statement from earlier?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
We can move on to the next thing.
All right, I kind of summarized for you what I thought you were going to say, but we will not know. To note to that, I did want to add as well, Rainbow Six Siege will be releasing for the PS5 and the Xbox X and support crossplay between the both. So if you're playing on PS4 and you buy it for PS5, you'll be able to play with PS4 people and vice versa for Xbox. So that's something.
Once again,
It'll
Ubisoft coming over clutch.
Cross support same system, not cross support cross play.
Yeah, it's not cross platform.
Which I feel like by now that should be. They should have caught up with that. Like Call of Duty does it now already. Most other games are jumping on the bandwagon of crossplay. It only benefits at that point.
Right.
I just feel like it's not that hard.
It's really not. It's not at all. Well, it's all server based. So like with what's the game? Fortnite. That's their servers. So that's that. They just needed like Sony's approval to be like, hey, can people like use our servers and play with each other? And they were being difficult for the longest time. So it just depends what, like Call of Duty. Call of Duty was just like, hey, we're all using our servers. Get over it. And then they just made it cross compatible. That's it. So it's really not hard to do. It just depends on how they want to do it.
Yeah, super strange.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird that Call of Duty would do it of them, because like Activision is a huge supporter of like the esports league and stuff like that for Call of Duty, and you would think that they'd want to pull so many people over just to Sony, because they don't really have an Xbox league. It's all PS4.
Yeah.
Yeah, but even with that, I'm pretty sure most of the players are like Xbox's biggest selling game is Call of Duty, right? So of course they're gonna support whatever it's selling the most on.
But then why not fund money into a pro? I don't know. It's just kind of weird. Like you would think you'd want to fund money. Like if Xbox's largest game month to date is always Call of Duty, you would think you'd want to throw money at it for like a pro league, rather than just tell people, "Oops, you got to switch over to PlayStation if you want to play professionally."
Yeah, as well as Activision, they're BFS with Blizzard. You think Overwatch would do the same, at least with PlayStation and Xbox?
That would be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, it's just more player based. Faster load games. You click a game, start immediately. Don't gotta worry about it.
See, even if they did crossplay, I don't think they would do the Call of Duty approach and allow PC into it, because the advantage alone with PC.
Yeah, well, I'm still shocked. I get why Call of Duty did it, because you can load. You load in on top of a dude, so you don't. It doesn't matter how fast you can move, because you literally load on top of somebody. So I get it. Yeah, with Overwatch, just Widowmaker alone, the difference in console Widowmaker and Xbox.
Well, I'm saying Siege too. Like the pure advantage over Siege, like mouse, keyboard, PC compared to console.
Yeah, it would never be a thing.
Yeah.
Agreed. All right, on to the next here. So the specs for each dev kit, suspected, you can't say official, did leak. I'm gonna post that in the chat if anybody wants to look at it. The big notes, they're pretty much the exact same for the PS5 and the Series X. The one thing that I noticed that I was like, is the hard drive space. The storage, PS5's rocking 500 gigs, where Xbox is running a terabyte. They are both running off of SSDs, which is awesome. Load times are probably going to be insane. Sony has 18 gigs of RAM, where Xbox has 16, but that's not really that big of a difference. As we were talking about prices and manufacturing earlier, I would at least guess from that Sony might do a $500 500 gig SSD and then a $600 terabyte SSD. Because who wants 500 gigs of memory, especially with they want everything to be digital? That's not that much memory.
Did they say starting at 500 then, or was it just?
No, this is all rumors. There's no official starting at blank. But
I didn't know if somebody had leaked it, like as like because if they had been like super specific, because if 500 was the top price for the 1 terabyte, that would be pretty smoking.
That'd be solid at that point.
Like
we'll see.
They'd be coming in there hot and heavy.
Yeah. I do find it interesting that Microsoft's just right off the bat, their dev kit has the terabyte, which is interesting.
I mean, our dev kits though, so they're sending these to developers, so the developers are loading one game onto it that they're just working on.
Theoretically.
Yeah.
Theoretically, so it's not like they have to worry
it
about
wouldn't
it.
be finalized, I mean, it's still rumored regardless, but it's not necessarily finalized either way.
Yeah. This is all. Take this all with a grain of salt, but it looks pretty accurate from what we've been seeing. With they're all using their GPUs for AMD, and the storage looks right from what I've been reading for the past year. My biggest thing is I could never deal with a 500 gig no matter what. Because I mean, I was talking to Rob again off stream. If you had a Red Dead 2, a GTA, and a Call of Duty, 500 gigs, you're done on that.
Oh yeah.
Because you're only going to get 420 out of that ish. Like you're not going to get 500. So, and then again, the fact that they want every game to be digital, I think Xbox might realize that, so they're just starting off with the terabyte. Because if you're not, who wants to download a game every single time? If
Well,
you have,
especially if they're trying to get away from the disk drive.
Yeah, exactly. So, any thoughts, opinions? Go in a circle.
I mean, currently, I still use my launch PS4. Yes.
Ooh.
But
okay.
I have like a 2 terabyte external that this year I plugged into it.
Yeah.
And now all my games go on that, and there's maybe my indie games that I have from PlayStation Plus that are on the hard drive itself.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the hard drive space isn't a big deal.
Better?
Since I even think maybe even the PS2,
Yeah.
you could go in and put in a bigger hard drive.
Right.
And it would just boot it up for you.
Let me counter to you that, because this was a little shady practice. I thought Sony, the stock one that you came out with, I can't brain farting, the original PS4, for the first year or two, you couldn't use an external hard drive. Because I remember when they did that update, I just bought a Pro because I wanted the 1 terabyte. It was like a month after the Pro came out, they did that PS4 big update that allowed you to use external hard drives. I was like, oh, cool, because I wouldn't have gotten the Pro because I didn't have a 4K TV at the time, so I would have just, used an external because I have 7. But I will admit, yeah, if they come out with an external right off the get, but I guess you could, yeah, because it doesn't need to be an SSD for just the game data. So yeah, it'd be awesome if you could do that right off the bat. Because if not,
yeah, as long as they don't block external, it doesn't really.
I feel like they kind of realized that they were shooting themselves in the foot with that, and that's why they were like, "Here you go. We've been listening to you guys. You've been yelling at us since launch. Here."
Well, also didn't we say that it was probably going to have USB-Cs? Because if it has USB-Cs,
for the charging.
Just for the charger, not on the actual unit itself, C to C. You think it'll be C to A?
No. Yeah, C to A. They won't.
Yeah, more than likely.
You're not gonna have a USB-C plug-in because nothing they would be making proprietary accessories. Well, and that always goes horribly.
I mean, not necessarily, because you have tons of C to C cables all over. If your controller was C to C, they have C to C external hard drives. That's what I was getting at. You can buy a C to C external SSD, and you could load the entire game on there versus just having your save data. Yeah. That would be my big thing.
Even if the PS5 drops with a 500 gig, I'm just gonna do what I did with my original PS4 and just swap the hard drives. I'm just gonna swap it out for a new hard drive.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure they know people are doing that. When I first got the PS3, I got one of those big honkers with 60 gigs. I put in a 500 gig, laptop hard drive because that's all it took.
Yeah.
And so I was the only person that, not the only person, but the only person that in my group of friends that had a PS3. And it was 500 gig hard drive. What? No way. And he's yeah, just put a laptop hard drive in there. The laptop hard drive was maybe $50. Damn.
Sweet. All right, so on to the next one here. I wanted to talk about the Witcher 3 update, which is allowing you to transfer PC saves to the Switch, which is I think is incredible. So basically, I could be playing The Witcher 3 on my computer. I got to go out of town for a couple days. I could import my PC data to my Switch, take my Switch, go about, play my saves, come back home, and then retransfer it over. Which, if you could do that for all games, which would just be awesome. If any compatible game with the Switch, which isn't a ton, but it's enough that I think that's extremely cool.
Yeah, I mean, with all the games that are moving to Switch, at least for a port, I think that would be dope.
Yeah, like that's I like. We get back into the double dipping situation where it's like, oh, here's this game from 2-3 years ago. I would go back and pick that game up if I could transfer saves back over so I could play it on the go and come back again.
Yeah.
So many people, the Switch makes half of its money from, not half, but a lot of its money from double dipping. Like, so many games have been ported to that thing that are so well. Doom, what's another one? There's
Wolfenstein.
so many. We have
Yeah.
Wolfenstein.
Diablo, like that would probably hit a ton of people. And if I could if Blizzard allowed porting all my stuff from PC Diablo to the Switch, just so that I could run like mythics while I'm, I don't know, pooping at a hotel, like that would be absolutely fire. And I can actually think of like any, I don't really play that many single player games, but the ones that I do, I primarily played them on PC, and that just opens up the world of everything. I would buy most games that I've played again if I had, like if I could. Well, really.
Right.
Well, I think it's cool they're being progressive about porting things. My only thing is I wish they were a little bit more progressive about porting their own titles.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why, can't we get not a Pokemon game, but like a Super Mario on Xbox and PlayStation and PC? That would be more interesting to me. I do think it's cool. I mean, this is starting to be slightly a trend, so it could take off. I mean, Witcher 3 is not the first game to see this treatment with the Switch. I believe Divinity 2 also was portable. So it could start something. It could be like a really cool thing. I was worried that you would be able to go back and forth because that would kind of kill the utility of it. But from what I've looked into, you can go back and forth between your Switch save and your PC save. The only concern that I really still have, because I haven't seen much talk about this, is how PC mods work when switching over to the Switch console.
They probably don't.
Yeah,
that's what I would say. I think it would just break your save.
Yeah, because it would be it would be different code, because it would be. Yeah, because I'm assuming when you port something over, it does have to change some sort of code just because of the engine that Nintendo uses versus that. So then the developer for the mod would have to have a compatible version to the code on the Switch's engine. That would be really crazy.
100%.
100%.
The one thing I think that's really important too as well is if I think it highlights some things that it's kind of under the developer's control too. Like for certain games, like you should be able to transfer things that you can't. For example, I used to love playing Overwatch on console. I switched to PC and just never touched it because I wanted my skins. I was petty. And it's like it's so simple to do. They just they don't want you to do it. They want to make that dollar. But for single player games, that's awesome because anything. It could be transferable like that. Even if, say Sony came out with the Vita 2, it just looked like a Switch, same size, dope specs. If I could take that around and play God of War, same exact thing, and then come home and then shoot God of War onto my TV, could you imagine? So that would just be.
That was the one thing I liked. I had the Vita, and that was the one thing I liked about it. I could go over to somebody's house, connect to the Wi-Fi, and connect to my home PlayStation. Like I could go over to a friend's house and play Fallout 4 on my Vita from my home console.
But see, I feel like I just feel like Xbox, they had it figured out originally though, because I used to be able to go to Phil's house and just recover my profile and have everything.
Yeah,
like,
I remember that.
Yeah. Halo 3 days.
Yeah. So I don't really understand why that was never a thing. Like that, I think that was one of the main reasons why I didn't switch over to PlayStation and play a ton of Call of Duty on PlayStation, because I would have had to restart. But anytime that I went over to a friend's house, I'd have to take my entire console and have an additional setup because you just couldn't recover profiles with Sony. I always thought that was super strange.
Wasn't that back in the day too at Xbox? Didn't you have like a memory card almost?
You could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
The 360 had a detachable.
Yeah, but it was that little thing. Yeah.
Originally,
I remember
they kind of got rid of that eventually when they started redoing the console for the fifth time.
Yeah.
That's fair. All right, so we're gonna go on to here talking about Atlus Games and their video recording guidelines they just distributed for PS5 with their new game. What is it? A DLC for Persona 5, Phil?
No, it's the next game.
Oh, that's their sequel. It's
their people don't. There's so many rumors going around right now about this.
Okay.
It might be just a spin-off. It could be a full sequel. Their latest video actually has and it's like grabbing at straws, but it's got just symbols flying, and it's the P and then the 5 shows up, and at the end a 2 randomly appears, and then the S. So people are like, oh wait, maybe it is just Persona 5 2. Because at first everybody thought it was these Dynasty Warriors style games, but the newest gameplay video shows it just being an action RPG. But it's releasing in Japan pretty soon, and yeah, they're going hard on anybody who wants to do any type of reviewing. So you can't use external capture cards. You have to use your console's capture devices. Uploading videos to sites are only going to be ones supported by sharing features on your Switch and PS4. So I don't even know if you can upload from your PS4 to YouTube. I don't know.
Yes.
You can?
Yes.
Okay.
I just don't know about the Switch.
Yeah, so
I doubt it with the Switch. But...
So then there's a whole thing where you can't edit and make a review video. You're just uploading your game video.
Yeah, and even in here it says
you can edit on PlayStation also.
Really, man, they do stuff I don't pay attention to because I have a computer that does it for me. Does a better job.
There's a lot that you can't do, which is just wild. So they're very strict. You can only upload from sharing sites that features the Switch or the PS4. If you put a video in, it's something that's a spoiler, and you don't clearly mark spoiler, you could even be at risk of getting your video shut down. Yeah, there's a lot. I did put the link in the chat if you want to look at all of them, but there's a good pinpoint of 15 things that you can or can't do. What we draw from this, and Phil and Rob did kind of tell me this is very common in Japanese games, right?
Well, a lesser version of this. Commonly with JRPGs is they block cutscenes so that you can't share cutscenes.
Right, that makes sense.
But this seems like they're headed towards a little bit a stricter territory. So, yeah, it's kind of a wait and see.
Okay.
And that could be due to this mystery of what this game is, because they haven't been giving anybody anything. No story info, nothing. The only thing that people are getting is they put out a demo in Japan that you could play 20 minutes. And supposedly it picks up right where Persona 5 left off.
Okay.
Possibly.
It could also be due to the fact that it's not a worldwide release.
That's
so we
true.
could see a change with this happen maybe when this goes worldwide. If it goes worldwide, which it probably will. A lot of Atlus games do eventually come out in the other regions. So
yeah, and I mean they're releasing the Royal Edition of Persona 5 at the end of next month. So it could be to kind of not take away from that, so sales on that are up.
Yeah,
and I'm buying it.
Me too. I haven't pre-ordered.
Okay.
Well, I don't have a pre-order.
Review coming soon. So the biggest takeaways from that is just the fact that a developer is being so strict with their content, which is a little troublesome for future games in general, where they blatantly have it in here. If it's hey, you spoil something, you're done. Mainly content creators, because I don't care if I post something and put it on there. But if you're a content creator for a game and you really like it, or you just even get frustrated at a game, which does happen, and you say something that you shouldn't, you could lose monetizational rights. Especially, it even says in one of their little blurbs that if you lose any monetary loss, they're not responsible. They're like, sorry. So they could easily just hit you with anything, and you're screwed. But that does segue into our next topic with this Twitch streamer Kurt. Something very similar happened to him with playing FIFA. He's a FIFA streamer, and the same thing basically happened where he did slander EA a little bit, just a little bit. And they basically slapped him upside the head with a cease and desist on all of his videos. So it does show that they are paying attention to YouTubers and streamers in general with their content. Now, this is an extreme case, but it is still crazy. So I just wanted to bring it up and see what you guys thought about it.
They threw the fucking book at that dude.
Well, he's not just a streamer. He's a competitor. He goes to the FIFA tournament.
Okay. So he's in the esports as well.
He's in the ethos.
But Josh is reading it to me. They hit him with a fucking demonetization and muted all of the shit on like 100 videos.
It was all of his videos. Any video with FIFA in it. Which is all of his videos.
They basically treated him like Mass Effect 3, so it was pretty. Or Anthem, if that's a more.
It's more relevant.
Hey, it's on the comeback, Rob. Rude.
Yeah.
Or Andromeda. I should have went for Andromeda because they were.
Hey, I really enjoyed Mass Effect Andromeda.
I actually did too, but
you gotta say it like this and then move your face all.
You have to.
Bonkers.
Yeah, I had fun. Sorry.
Yeah, you gotta deal with it. So basically, what he did do, I did find the video. I don't have a link. I do apologize, but basically, he deserved it though. In one scene, he was found spitting on the EA.
I'm reading it.
Wait a minute.
The EA logo.
That was just the beginning of it. That isn't where this happened. This was towards the end of last year. He was doing a stream, just laying out EA during the stream, which culminating in him taking a scarf that he got, I guess, as swag from an event, and he was spitting on the EA logo on camera. And this other streamer posted it to Twitter immediately, calling out his behavior as
what a narc.
Exactly.
What a fucking narc.
You narc.
So that got EA's attention, and he didn't slow down from that point, and continued to have some of the same tendencies throughout the rest of his videos. Not, no spitting, but the rest of that.
Yeah. And I do agree 50-50. It's like, as a content creator and you literally only play FIFA and you participate in EA's tournaments that they probably fund to an extent of the prize pool, and you spit on like their logo, it's kind of like, don't be a dick. But again, there's no reason for the other streamer to just be like, "Hey, look at this Twitter." But hey,
I think he had something to gain. He had something to gain.
Yeah.
I think Kurt got third, and that guy got fourth. And he, oh wow. Somebody just hit us with a follow. I don't know who it was because it popped up and played the noise, and it was super fast.
It played the noise.
It played the noise.
Excellent. Thank you, said follower. We appreciate it. Tune in every Thursday.
Let's see.
First.
I'm gonna check who that was. Not the
It's
first.
not the first. We had one last week.
No?
I'm not sure if it was. I don't know if any of you are Gravy Party, but if it was Gravy Party who hit us with a follow, I appreciate you so much. We do this every Thursday from 5:30 to 7. Tell your friends.
Tell your friends.
Bring girls.
Bring the bitches.
Bring the bitches. Sick. Thanks, man. He's in the chat now. No, so like, what were we saying before that happened? That like threw me off.
We were talking about EA being a piece of shit to somebody.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Here's
it's
the thing. It's EA, and I feel dirty saying that they're on the like right side of it a little bit, but it's kind of true.
Don't be that guy.
Like,
Rob's gonna not be here. He's gonna be an EA sponsored streamer, like somewhere in the ether somewhere now.
I'll still stream.
He shouldn't have spit on my
Hey Jeffrey, thank you for the follow.
I don't think anything else he did was terrible. I think it's right to call them out on their bullshit because EA is a terrible fucking company. But that being said, I don't like saying they did the right thing here because it's like saying, "Oh, R. Kelly still makes great music." So
weird comparison.
I do think he needed to be a little more professional about it all. If he is a competitor, I mean, I know Halo pros on their streams, they'll say crap about Halo games and stuff all the time, but they never like attack the company that's currently making it. They will say horrible stuff about Bungie now, but they never say anything about 343. Because they're professionals and like that, it's funding their career. Like they get to stay at home and play video games because I'm envious of that. But they need so I think the whole just hammer was a bit too much from EA. I think they should have fined him or maybe hey, guess what? You can't go to the next event.
Yeah. Well, that also happened.
Really?
That did. So here's where they're a little bit right. They did. They banned him from the event. I think last November. Already. And then they've also hit him with several warnings since then, and he's.
Yeah. Oh, then he kept doing it.
He kept fucking.
Okay, then it's all his fault. He should have been a professional. Then now EA's fine. I don't care anymore.
At that point, you're pretty much done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sure.
Go ahead.
No, you're good.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. No, by all means, sir. No, I think it's really similar to I don't know how anybody does this, but Doki, he's a professional player for Rainbow Six Siege. They have it set up to where if your account gets banned by Ubisoft in the game for toxicity or cheating or anything like that, you cannot play Pro League. So he got banned on his main account while playing ranked, and that means that you cannot play the custom matches that they do for Pro League. So they should really have that across the board. I mean, the guy went super, super far as spitting on the logo. I watch tons of streamers. I would you'll never catch Pangu, Doki, Bolo, any of those R6 streamers who play professionally. You're never going to catch them spitting on the Ubisoft logo. Because Ubisoft flies them out to play the patch before it even comes out. They literally ask them about what map reworks and what they should be in the rotation. They're so involved. So unless EA has a really hands-off approach to their esports and he feels some kind of way, I guess kind of entitled, he can do whatever he wants in that manner. I mean, he won't anymore because he just got hit with the hand of God. But I think especially after Rob clarified the multiple strikes, Kurt, look at me, you were a dick.
Right. You an asshole.
You a dick.
All right, we're gonna shoot over to a segment we want to call Speed Run. We basically go over little bits of news that are just really quick and fast. I'm gonna hit that now. Fast. So if you're an Apex player, Kings Canyon is back tomorrow. If you hate World's Edge like I do, you can go back to what the hell is that?
You can now update your game.
Yeah, you can play it. Get on Kings Canyon. I hated World's Edge. It was stupid. I didn't like it. So you can go back to that. Outer Worlds officially has sold over 2 million copies. Great game. I barely played it. Justin has it. I want it back. It seems pretty fun. I love the speedrunners in that game where they beat the game in
12 minutes.
10 seconds. They just shoot everyone in the face and then finish it. I love it. It's amazing. Nintendo Direct. Nintendo had their Nintendo Direct today. If anybody wants to watch that, I'll link it.
Animal Crossing.
Yep, they just announced a little.
Really good. Tons of things you can do now that you couldn't before.
Yeah, there's a link down in the chat if you want to listen to that. I'm not a huge Animal Crossing fan, but if you are, watch it, love it, enjoy it, marinate on it. It'll be great.
I'm excited. Looks good.
Are you? Are you really?
I've played all of them except for the home designer.
Hmm.
The only one I ever played.
All right. They also did talk about their pre-orders for the Animal Crossing Switch and the new color for the Switch Lite. I think it's pink-ish.
Ooh. Insta pickup.
Coral.
Get it right, Josh. You just pissed off every girl on YouTube.
It's fucking pink. But yeah, so you can get that as well. Cyberpunk is doing a promotion with NVIDIA for their 2080 Ti graphics card. I'm also going to link that because this thing looks fucking amazing.
And it's a contest, so you.
It's a contest.
Unfortunately, yeah, sweepstakes only. Because if it was on the market,
they are doing 77 that they are giving away. If you want to know how to sign up and everything, it is in the link I just posted on from their Twitter. It just looks amazing. It's yellow. It has the 2077 logo on it. It's just awesome. So I wanted to bring that up. No Man's Sky just released their new update. I'll post that video as well. I'm gonna let Justin and maybe Rob, people that have played No Man's Sky, talk about it because I abandoned that game the moment it came out after it sucked. So Justin, take it away.
Cool update. The updates they brought in these new like living ships, so they're kind of like alien kind of things. They like glow and move. And looks cool. I don't know if I'd ever get a living ship just because I like the more like stereotypical like hard edges and like spaceship looking spaceships. But
yeah,
looks cool for an update.
Okay.
The game's come a long way since initial release. So
they have an unlimited amount of planets that you can visit, and visit your friends' planets if you can find them.
Well, can you do that now?
I don't know.
When it first came out,
I don't know. That was like the middle. That was like.
Nobody was there.
No, you can now.
You can actually see people and you can actually visit people and friends and other people's structures and stuff they build now.
Interesting. They just lost me with the initial fuck up. Like I paid $60 for that game. I traded that game in the next day and got $15 from GameStop. And the dude was just like, "It sucks. I don't know what you want me to say."
I still think that No Man's Sky caught the original bullet that also Sea of Thieves caught, which was that
boring as shit.
Well, it was the initial push to get it out in the market before any content was done.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
I enjoy both of those games now more than the initial release for both of them.
Yeah, I agree. Sea of Thieves, I mean, I think we all almost got it. I don't know if Rob did, but I know the rest of us did. And we played it, and it was literally nothing to do. It's like, I would rather you take 3 months off, or not off, but take 3 more months to finish your game. To finish your game and then come out with it. But that's the trend we're seeing now. As you saw this month, every game got delayed. Every game that existed.
But we had such a niche amount of fun though, because there were moments absolutely where we were all on islands just having a fucking blast. Yeah, and then when we got hit, we were like the first people I knew, because I knew a ton of people that played it, the first people that got hit with the Kraken. And that shit was nuts.
Yeah.
I saw videos on it. I didn't do it.
Well, I was telling Josh, Brandon, they added a little while ago now. They added an arena, so it's basically just a giant, it's all ship on ship combat now, basically.
Ooh, like, ship on ship action. Cue the sexy music.
And like that's what this is for now. Like this mode is just so you could fight other people.
Yeah.
I mean,
it definitely. I enjoyed everything. The realism, not quote unquote realism, I didn't do this back in the fucking day. But if I did pilot a ship, is it pilot a ship?
Steer
a ship?
Steer a ship?
Captain. If I ever had to captain a ship, I like how you couldn't see everything like that. It's so like
Yeah, everybody having to do a job was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that was the funnest thing about that game, was just sailing and landing. And then I got to an island and just fought fake ass skeleton people.
Fake ass skeleton people, bro.
It was just
talk behind your back. They'd fuck your girl. Everything.
Yeah. All right, cool. So we did want to move on to a little bit of a different topic here. What's going on with the coronavirus right now is terrible. So many people are losing their lives to it. But we just wanted to talk about the side of gaming.
You being
a little bit.
Made me laugh. I'm sorry.
Rob's over there rubbing his hands together.
Oh yeah.
My plan is coming to fruition.
Yeah. So Rob's gonna talk about the effects of the coronavirus. That's
Dr. Rob up in the house.
Yeah, Rob, that's all you.
Okay. We'll get through this really quickly because the people that are suffering from the coronavirus won't make it to the end of the stream. So the first we have, I shouldn't make those jokes. All right.
Rob's last episode was episode.
In the arms of an angel.
Can I get F in the chat?
Basically, one of the major things that happened semi recently is since we were just talking about the game actually, the Switch port for, I lost my notes. The Switch port for
You can do it.
Outer Worlds. Yep. Which I do own that game on PlayStation. It is enjoyable. It was supposed to come out March 6th this year on Switch. It has been postponed until fiscal year 2021 due to the coronavirus. A lot of other things have been affected. Travel restrictions to most of the Chinese conferences as far as gaming go have been canceled outright, namely the Taipei Game Show. And anyone coming from China to game shows around the world they've been pretty much told not to. So it's a lot. I think a lot of these effects are going to continue into the next gen console race as well. Switch has already notified everybody that Japan is going to see limitations on how many Switches they can put in stores. They've said that that's not going to spread to any regions quite yet, but
Who knows?
Who knows? It could very well. And if the PS5 and Series X manufacturing issues don't get sorted out, I think we'll run into the same issue there as well.
Yep, I agree. I did want to note as well, Sony is backing out of PAX East, which is like a super big conference. It's one of the biggest ones of the year, so that's a big thing, which I also think is weird because Sony is running out of time to do anything with their console. I mean, they could do like a Sony Direct.
But I feel like backing out of conferences is like Sony's thing now.
Yeah, that's it. Well,
there.
when they announced they weren't going to be at E3, they said they're going to do, other littler things, and PAX East was like, oh, maybe. PAX
I don't
East.
know. I feel like it's just a scapegoat.
What? Sony backing out?
Sony backing out. Yeah, just because I feel like nationally, like it is a huge ordeal. But nationally, there's so much travel going on that if they really felt inclined, because like let's be real, Sony, let's say higher ups, if they wanted to send somebody that was a higher up, Sony higher ups are not living in central China where the coronavirus is a big issue.
Not in Wuhan.
Yeah, they're not sitting in Wuhan. They're not sitting in Beijing. Like, there's a lot of them that are unaffected. I feel like they just don't want the stigma of being the company that, like, oh, you're from that area, but you still traveled. Because, like, the people with the cruise ship, the 150 people they just let off in Texas and California, they just got destroyed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's gonna be iffy because like even Apple's seen, Apple of all people, like the mecca
Apple
of tech, Apple of all people.
Where's all their shit made?
Foxconn, which is in China. And I'm just saying, like Apple of all people, like people who just don't really give a shit about humans in general, like they're even having talks about like manufacturing other places. They're talking about like distribution. I mean, it's just weird. Like,
if I'm not mistaken, I saw a thing where they're talking about the iPads. They're moving the production center of the iPads because the one is so currently hit right now that they can't, like, they're having
all the kids are sick.
Yeah.
We'll see. It'll definitely be interesting. I mean, if anything will come of it, it might be the consoles may be very similar to every Nintendo console for the last 10 years. Where they sell better because they're delayed. I mean, can you imagine when the Wii, they couldn't,
the Wii
and the Switch, you couldn't keep them in stores, but that was a good thing because you had to have a queue when people showed up and they all sold immediately. So people, what's going on with this console, and they'd get it more. So we'll see, and that might factor into the fact that they're not doing any backwards games or anything because they just might not have enough. We'll see. Only time
we should
can
also
tell.
keep in mind. I mean, we're not really towards the end of this yet either. SARS, which is a very similar virus to the one that we're dealing with right now, SARS lasted nearly 2 years before it wasn't considered a viable threat anymore.
Yeah.
So I think we could see this lasting for quite a bit.
Hopefully not.
Yeah, because even whenever they find a vaccination, you're talking global vaccination. Like, so once they find a strand that they can deal with, and then it basically modifies itself to be able to cure it, like, that's just so many people to vaccinate.
Yeah.
But, all right. All right, on a happier note, some people won some money at the season invitational for 2020, Rainbow Six Siege. Esport news.
That is what it.
Yeah, so Space Station Gaming took first place last weekend. They had a 33% take of the winnings at $1 million of the $3 million prize pool. Second was Ninjas and Pajamas. Space Station Gaming went undefeated, by the way, which is pretty crazy because a lot of times the team that wins goes to the loser bracket, but they're so much better than everybody that's in the losers bracket. They just kind of mop up the floor. Space Station Gaming started in like the A group, like the alpha of alphas. Like they weren't even expected to really make it out and went undefeated. Then it was Ninjas in Pajamas. They won $450,000. Then Team Solo Mid, and then BDS Esports for all those Shaco fans out there. If we check the list, this is the crazy thing. $1 million is first. 16th, 60 grand for 4 teams, which is pretty wild. A lot of money being flooded into Rainbow Six Siege. I'm going to go ahead and post the... Oh, you already did the roundup in there. All right, cool. Yeah, so then the next thing that's coming up in Rainbow Six Siege... Oh, I got to figure out how to post the picture as well. Well, I'll just throw it up on the screen, but...
Coming soon.
Coming soon. Yeah, so for the Void Edge operation that's going to come out with a new season, I think March 3rd was like the soft date. We have Yana, who is an attacker, and then Oryx, who is the defender. Yana, I guess as it's pronounced. Essentially, she's Alibi with a movable clone. Super dope. You can just kind of drone around. Small tweaks that you have to like look out for, like you're immobile whenever it's activated, different things like that. And then Orcs, pretty cool. I feel like we said it was pretty cool, but just slow. Slow to climb up hatches, slow to react, and then no ACOG on the MP5. So womp on that.
The MP5 relies with Doc and Rook on its headshot ability, and the fact that he doesn't have an ACOG, it's super hard to do.
Yeah, I think he's going to be... I think you're going to want to run the shotgun on him. Yana, definitely G36C all day long. Every single day of the week. They're reworking the map Oregon and Chalet. They're doing... This is the biggest thing. Screw all the characters. Get them out of your mind. Nothing else matters. Client-side debris update. You're no longer going to melee a barricade and have a piece of wood sticking in your face so you can't see. The other cool thing, which I asked for like a long time, and I'm so glad that they listened to me and only me. No one else had anything to do with this except for moi. Attacker drones now spawn on the location that you picked. In between the prep phases, some player HUD updates. They're coming out with replays. Legion goos. You got a huge nerf. Legion goos no longer do damage initially when you step on them, but Twitch got a buff. She reverted back to what she was like 2 seasons ago or 3 seasons ago, where she had unlimited shots. She starts with 3. So as long as your drone's alive, you can be a tiny turret to replace Tachanka.
Tiny turret.
Ubisoft is partnering with, who was it? Crystal something? Crystal, the people
that own
the people who own Lara Croft. Ash is getting an elite skin. You can find all of that information on the Siege GG link that we sent. And I'm gonna go ahead and pull up while we're talking. I'm gonna pull up an image that I found while I was doing some data mining of my own. It was a Mozzie Elite. I don't think anybody has seen it yet. We can talk about something else while we're doing that if you want.
Oh, yeah. Well, Brandon looks up this hot topic data mining thing. We're going to close out the podcast with a new segment we like to call Releasing and Relevant. Basically, where we take every game that's coming out this week from Tuesday to today or tomorrow and talk about it. There's going to be a couple exclusions because it is releasing irrelevant, so games that aren't as relevant, rip. Sorry. So again, while Brandon's doing that, I'm gonna just name off a couple games that should be good, and we'll go from there. We got Darksiders Genesis, which is releasing on PS4, Xbox, and Switch. It came out February 14th. Dreams for PS4 did release on February 14th as well. Sony's DualShock 4 back button attachment came out this Tuesday as well. Street Fighter V Champions came out for PC and PS4. Warriors and Orochi came out. Orochi 4 Ultimate came out Switch, PC, Xbox, and PS4 this Tuesday. The 18th, we get Bayonetta and Vanquish, the 10th anniversary bundle for for PS4 and Xbox, February 18th, and the Hunt Showdown, which has been in beta / PC for a while now. It is coming to PS4 and Xbox, February 18th. So those are the games that we find a little bit relevant. If you want to know, now you know. We are going to play a little game here as well with the new releases. I'm going to let Rob explain that to you. I'm going to let my man Rob explain that to you now.
Okay, how many people do we have in chat right now, Josh?
5 people, sir.
5 people. Okay, you 5 people, listen up, because you're going to play this after we do. We're going to do a little thing. We might do it every week if I'm not kicked off of the show for the coronavirus thing. We're doing a thing called Fuck, Marry, Kill. It's where we take the releases coming out this week, and we pick which ones we would fuck, marry, and kill. Fuck is a quick but very fun experience. Marry is a game that we're going to spend, a long time playing. It's going to be a long-term experience. And Kill is a game that they just shouldn't have spent the money on at all. So who wants to kick it off with their Fuck, Marry, Kill of the week? Anybody?
I'll go. I don't care.
Go for it.
Okie dokie. So my quick fuck, you know what I'm saying, is definitely gonna be the Hunt Showdown. It's a game that I would been looking at for a while. If I picked it up, I know for a fact I'd love it for about 20 hours. Get a kick out of it. Make Justin and Brandon get it. We play it for probably 5 more hours, and then we would never play it ever again. It does look really learner heavy, where it does look like it has a strong learning base and curve that you need to get. But once you get, again, it looked like it'd be fun for like 20 to 50 hours, and then that's it. No more you up text. Dreams is definitely going to be my Mary. I'm not very creative, but hey, I can just play what other people create. It's just an insane thing where you can just, play all these games that people create. It looks wild. I've already seen a lot of footage of it. It looks amazing. And we're going to kill Warriors of Orochi 4 Ultimate because I just don't care. It looks very Dynasty Warriors-y. Those games don't drastically improve at all for me. They just keep coming out with the same clone, and I just don't care. Me personally, no, if anybody has fans out there, I do think that game isn't that just not that's not releasing in the States, right? That's just overseas for now.
It will. I mean,
eventually.
It will. Yeah.
Yeah. I still don't care. So it's dead to me. On to the next one. Whoever wants to go.
I'll jump in because my list is very similar to Josh's. See, I would use the Dreams for the actual creativity part of it because I used to do the map for the Far Cry series, which has an awesome map creation and game.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Same for Halo 3s and Reaches, Forge modes. Always messed around with those. So I think Dreams would probably get the most love out of the entire list. The Hunt is definitely going to be the one-timer for me. I feel like we play it once, never get past that learn curve, and get trashed on by some swamp monster, and we throw our hands up and just say, "Well, we tried. That was our shot. Let's go back to Siege." And the rest of them can just go fuck off.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You're killing them all. Damn. You're killing Street Fighter. You're killing Devil May Cry.
I don't play fighters that much.
That's fair.
Warriors of Orochi, I don't know. So someone can cover for me.
That sounds like a dish.
I don't want to interrupt, but I did completely forgot Devil May Cry. I apologize to anyone who cares about that game. The Devil May Cry.
Yeah.
Rob and I were definitely going to talk about it.
Yeah. So I guess I'll go ahead. My Fuck, Marry, Kill this week. I mean, since we just segued from it. My fuck is going to be Devil May Cry 3. I love Devil May Cry 3. It's my favorite of the series. I've played through the whole game at least 5 times when it originally released. I'm not actually going to buy it, but if I were going to buy it, I can guarantee that I'd spend a good 5 to 10 hours just really enjoying it, and then I'm not calling it back.
Ouch.
For my Merry Dreams, also, I think out of the list of releasing games this week, I think Dreams is the long-term commitment. It's not a game; it's limitless games. That's definitely the one. I'm killing Orochi because we don't need an Ultimate Edition because I don't need a fucking alternate skin for one of 97 characters. And that's it. That's mine. So,
cool.
Next.
I got aggressive. I guess does that leave me? No.
You were Phil.
Okay. Go ahead, Phil.
All right. Okay. So I'm gonna go a little backwards. I'm gonna kill
First.
the Dual Shock 4 back button. I don't think it's necessary.
What?
We're gonna talk about that later.
I play with a lot of different controllers. I don't need it. I have a scuffed Xbox controller. I've taken every back button off except one, and I'm kind of thinking about taking that one off too.
Okay.
So that I would fuck Devil May Cry 3. I think it's a tie with Devil May Cry 3 and Dreams for fucking.
You can't fuck two.
You're fucking.
I would put a lot of time. I have fucking Dreams. I don't think I'd put a lot of time into Dreams. I think it's a cool thing, but I wouldn't create anything. And I game to play a full game, so. And I'd marry because I already picked it up on launch. Got that Steelbook edition of Bayonetta and Vanquish 10th anniversary.
The steel.
Weird flex, but okay.
That is the only combo on the new releases, if I'm not mistaken, correct? Like that's 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
So, or is it 3? Does it come with both Bayonettas or just the first?
Just the first one.
Okay, still 2 games, so not a bad marry. No. It is weird that you kill before fucking, but other than that, that's a fairly solid.
I gotta get something to get me going.
Oh my. Yeah, I don't know. I think this is pretty easy for me. I fucked. Straight up fucked.
Fast tense.
I straight up fucked Darksiders Genesis. Picked it up, played it for 20 minutes, realized it's just a really bad Divinity / Diablo clone for the Darksiders characters. They basically just took Diablo, skinned it to Darksiders, and added like a really shitty campaign for the most part. Definitely feel like they dropped the ball. Like if they were gonna do a game like that, they should have just made all of the Warhorse, or like the Horsemen. They should just made them all playable rather than leaving out some of them. I think I could marry the Hunt Showdown, just because of the pure fact that I think I've watched enough of it to where it's a slower paced battle royale that we like. And it's got a pretty quick time to kill, which I think is something that we complain about with like Apex, things like that. And then it's got stuff to do. It's like got the little mini bosses, like the spider in the barn and shit like that. Super dope. I just think I'd be too big of a pussy to marry it, maybe. So it's sort of like a long engagement. And then I'm straight up killing Street Fighter 5 because of all the microtransactions.
They do like that money.
Money.
Yeah. Money. Well, all right. So yeah, that was our releasing irrelevant segment. We want to do that every week, wrapping around the end of the podcast. I do want to segue a little bit into this DualShock 4 that Phil's killing apparently. I like it because it's just the closest thing Sony's done to maybe potentially coming out with a Pro controller, because Xbox's Pro controller is the shit.
It's the closest thing they've done first party.
Yeah, first party. Yeah.
First party, yes.
And I would like them, if it's successful, maybe it'll factor in. I don't want it to be an attachment though. Like I think that's stupid. If they do come out with something for the 5, I would like it to be just a good controller with that option already.
Yeah, I do enjoy mine. I use mine quite a bit when playing like Call of Duty or things, for example. I do enjoy it.
Okay, that's good. But I think that wraps it up. Does anybody closing? Does anyone in closing anything that you talk about, bring up?
I did find what I had data mined, so I'm gonna throw up on the screen just real quick. So it's there on the screen. That's the Mozzie skin. I don't know if it was like a celebrity release. Make it a little bit larger so everybody can see it.
It's a deluxe skin.
Yeah, it's not on the test server. It's on the TTTTS server. You guys probably don't have access to it. It was something that we kind of got access to for a short limited time.
Right.
But all I gotta say about that skin is wow.
All right, well that wraps it up for this week, guys. See us next week. We'll probably tune in around 5:30 Eastern time. We try to wrap up around an hour and a half, around 7 o'clock. Sometimes you might go a little bit longer, sometimes we might go a little shorter. But we appreciate you watching. You can always watch us later on YouTube. We will link our YouTube as well. We just you can watch it at your own pace if you want. And all the links we talked about will be in YouTube as well. We'll post them in there so you can click anything you want and watch it.
Bye. Bye.